You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast, where we empower women of faith to identify, acknowledge, and accept their doubts and limits and beliefs in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast. I am here with Kai Brown Rhys of 81Media. Hello, Kai. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. So I told you before we got started, like I was looking at your website and I really was like, okay, this is going to be a very creative conversation because I was trying to figure it out. And I was like, I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. So she gonna have to break it all the way down. So before we get into 81Media, the books, everything that you're doing, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started?
Well, that is definitely a huge question. So it's not, it's usually not a huge question to most people, but for me, it's really a huge question. So honestly, I feel like I got started day one, literally like day one that I've been born.
Mm.
Um, like it's been a very interesting kind of journey for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of people that just have those very unique lives that
Yeah.
it's just like something has to be going on with you because there has to be a reason for
Yeah,
why
somebody
you
needs to
yeah
explain all of this.
it's like there has to be something,
Yeah.
down the line. I don't know what it is, but there has to be something down the line that's going to explain why you were the way that you are. Not always necessarily a bad thing, but definitely has to be something. So I would literally say day one. I've always had this kind of disrupting yet freeing and nurturing, creative, confrontational kind of thing that's been happening in my life since I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as getting started on the career path, that kind of started really early in life too. So as far as you were mentioning the whole creative aspect and how it's like it you do a lot of different things, and just looking at the website, like you do a whole lot of different
Yeah.
things. It literally started right then, like maybe like 10, 11. Like it started
Wow.
at a very, very young age. Just a very unique kind of life and path and journey. So that's really where I got started. Just anything creative, I threw myself into it. Artistry and creativity, literally playing like every instrument known to man,
Wow.
singing, songwriting, teaching. Like I was teaching at a university at the time of what I was like 13, 14 years old. Like I was,
Really?
yeah, so it was a very unique
You
individual.
like a whole
So
prodigy, right? Right
that was
now.
actually what they called me. I'm no lie, no lie. That's exactly what they called me for many years. So when you kind of walk the path of the unique and the uncommon, everything else kind of follows suit, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. Yeah, so
So this is yeah, okay. So how has self-doubt showed up in your journey? So if we talking about you starting at an age where people were playing and not even thinking about
yes,
teaching, clearly, let alone
exactly.
like they like at 13 you ain't even trying to go to school, let alone teaching
Right.
other people. How has self-doubt showed up in your journey?
I would say the more living I did, the
Mm,
more self-doubt.
mm,
The more living I did, the more self-doubt would appear. Um, the younger I was fearless. Like there was absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do because when you're accustomed to being, or when you become accustomed to being very proficient at a lot of different things at a
yeah.
very young age, it builds up this level of confidence that is unshakable
Mm,
until life happens.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And life happens, the level of resilience that one might have is very fragile
Yeah.
as the years progress and things of that nature. You have more history to pull from in those life experiences to almost combat the things that you've always known to be true.
Yeah. So what do you think that so as you and I totally understand what you're saying because when I look at my kids, I'm like they they're like, oh, just try it, just do it. It's like and then you become an adult and you're like, yeah, but if I do that, you're kind of thinking about what if this happens or what if that happens. So what
Right.
are some things that you try like when you realize that like okay, adulthood has like crept in and now life experiences are creating that self doubt. What did that look like for you?
Um, More specifically, imposter syndrome, I would have to say.
Mm. How did that show up?
Well, both personally and professionally, that looming question of how did I get here?
Yeah.
I don't belong here. Um, Almost like when you're experiencing that rare air of people
Mhm.
that are, leaders in their field, and that, especially for someone that started so young,
Yeah.
that means that you're advancing and you're still the young one,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's around everybody. So almost this sense of having to prove it to yourself before you prove it to the people that already invited you to the place.
Yeah.
that's that was one of the biggest things that I had to deal with over time. The imposter syndrome, even as I continue to advance, is something that I have to actively combat, because outside of the talk or the narrative that's spoken around you, what you say to yourself is so important.
Yes.
So it's so
Yes.
important.
So what do you what when you have those moments or when you were having those moments, what did you do? Because I definitely I when you said imposter, that's a trigger for me because imposter syndrome, it can creep up at random times, even when you know you're qualified for something. And like you said, like you're advancing, but just because you're the youngest or you're in certain situations you're the only one, and then it's
Right.
kind of like how like what did you do to try to like keep yourself in that space and continue to remind yourself that you deserve to be there.
Well, I'll say it's twofold. Because there's two types of situations usually that I would encounter. One would be I'm coming into a situation where there's tons of people there that are supposedly more advanced, they're more
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable, more experienced, and I would have to remind myself that even if I had any doubt, any disbelief in my worthiness to be there, it would behoove me to not offend the people that invited me.
Ooh, ooh, that's a whole word right there.
Don't offend the people that
Right?
invited me, and they thought
Yeah.
well enough of me and my experience and my ability to be able to invite me to this place. So if I don't believe it just yet, believe it because they believed
They
it.
believe you. That's it. Listen, I'm telling y'all, that's a
Until I
word for
believed
somebody.
it.
Okay, that's a word. That's a word for me, definitely. But that's a word for somebody. Because even so, I'm gonna put a pin right there. But even people see things in you that you sometimes you don't see in yourself, and so yeah, that's real. That's all. It reminded me of something when I was younger that I think my grandmother or my aunt used to say, like, you don't go to somebody else's house and not eat. Like it's rude, right? They
Right,
offer you a plate,
right,
you eat it, even if you ain't hungry. Like eat
right.
some of it, right? And so it's one of those things. It's like if they invited you, it's because they see something in you. Like you said, even if you don't see it in yourself,
Right.
you need to show up for them, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah,
if you keep doing that, it'll help you to understand, well, there must be something. There must be
yeah.
something
You see
about me.
something.
Until you believe it yourself, just put enough and, put more stock in the fact that they believed it enough to be able to invite me here. And then the second I would have to say is not experiencing, like, meeting somebody else's narrative, but being the first. There is
Mm,
something very, very distinct about being the first. Not only
yeah.
because it brings on a lot of accolades once you've completed it,
Mm-hmm.
but that being the first thing means that you are literally going into uncharted territory.
Yeah.
You're walking in places that no one else has been, and there's nothing but this hasn't been done before in your
Right.
face.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
you're looking at every single day. You're looking at this has never been done.
Yeah.
So you don't have a blueprint. You don't have like anything that you've amassed in your mind of how this might look, it could completely be the opposite thing.
Yeah,
So like
that is
really
scary.
overcoming the first,
Yeah.
being the first, that was something that I had to experience a lot because of the fact that as a believer and a creative, just being at that crux right there,
Mm-hmm.
and not being God, because
Yeah.
God does that well, okay?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
He
He
does
don't need
that
no
well.
help. He
He
don't need
doesn't need
nobody
any
hyping him
help.
up.
Like he's good. You mean? So it's that's him. He got that.
Yeah.
For me, though I was created in his image, I am not him.
Correct.
So
Correct.
being able to go into that space that bears the same DNA, I bear his same DNA. There's still that soul portion,
Yeah.
that carnal humanity piece, that we have to confront in being the first to be able to carve out certain things. And I just have to confront that humanity with the DNA that I know is true. So it's
Mm.
a decidedness.
Yeah. No, yeah, both of those are, yeah, that's really, really good because I think that, like you said, there's no blueprint when you are created to be the first of whatever it is that he's giving you, because that's your path, right?
Right.
And so, like you said, knowing it, when you know whose you are, it makes it a little bit easier, but living in it is difficult because it's like, well, you're not, I'm still doing, like, every step is faith. And I say all the time, like, your faith walk is, it ain't easy. It's not
No.
something that's like
No, it is
like
not.
it ain't like, oh yeah, I'm just out here. Da, 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 da. No, you was like tiptoeing, like making sure you ain't stepping on no mine. You know, what are those
Right.
landmines or whatever? Like, you just
Right.
like, what, what's the right way to go? So yeah, like but I like how you said to like humanize it and understand it, just kind of where you are, and knowing that you've been given this gift, and you know who you're connected to, and just kind of using that to continue to encourage you to go forth, even though it's uncharted territory. And when it and the other thing that I thought of is, my brain just be like super random, was like, once you start this path, like, you open the doors for other people behind you. And
Exactly.
that's a major responsibility that, is scary, right? Because you're just kind of
Yes,
like,
completely. Completely scary. There's no place that says, "Oh, well, being the first is not really going to be scary." You don't know what you're doing. Like
yeah.
you don't know. No one else has done it. But it's one thing that I know that's helped me a lot. I would say because I'm a believer, I have an advantage. I
Mm,
have a full grown God.
yes.
Like
Full grown,
a
not no
full
baby.
grown God.
Yes.
Okay, I know everybody do the whole joking like baby Jesus. No,
Yeah.
I have a full grown God that
Yes.
is not only before me but inside.
Yes.
So the things that if I make sure that I'm keenly listening,
Hmm.
to the voice of God, if I'm keenly listening to my intuition, that is not a carnal intuition but spiritual intuition, if I follow that, that's my compass to wherever I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
it
That.
feels like God, like if it feels like the characteristics of God, if it feels like peace, if it feels like, I might not know exactly what it is,
Yeah.
but it feels like him, then if you're scared, if if you're unsure, if there's any doubt, if there's no space for it anymore,
Yeah.
because there's a direction. And if you
Yeah.
have a decision plus a direction, you just, it's up to you. You got to go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
No, that's
you
so.
got
That's
to.
like, it's a full grown God like that.
Full grown
So
God. Yeah.
I think that a lot of times, like you say, we joke around with the baby Jesus. And you say those things, but when you realize all of his greatness, all of his power, all the things that he's been able to do, you start to wonder, like, in this like self-doubt journey, it's like, why not me? You know what I mean?
Right.
All the things that he's been able to do, and what he does for other people, he can do that not only for them, he has enough space for me as well.
Exactly.
And then when you're making these steps and you're doing, especially when you know that you're walking in your purpose, that it that's uncharted territory off the break, because most of that is not like learned skill, right? It's not anything
Right.
that necessarily you don't go to school to learn your God-given purpose. That's
Hmm.
in you, and so no one can teach you to do what it is he called you to do.
Right.
And so yeah, that definitely it mind blowing, right? So
Yes.
what have you learned about yourself during this journey that you didn't know before?
Let's see.
I mean, you're very intuitive, so I'm like, huh? I wonder if she
uh,
got one thing.
one thing I learned a lot. I've had to learn a lot. It's been a very enlightening journey thus far. Let's just put it that way. Um, a few tips I've learned.
Okay.
Um, I would say prioritizing wisdom
Mm. Oh, what does that look
is
like?
whew, it's
Come
not
on.
pretty. I'll tell you that. It's not pretty. But prioritizing wisdom so that I'm living purposefully.
Mm.
So any man or woman that asks God for wisdom, he will give liberally.
Yeah.
And asking wisdom or asking for wisdom is something that I've been doing since as long as I can remember. Because I always figured if you had wisdom, and I believe obviously this is a revelation of the Holy Spirit, that if you have wisdom, then you'll be able to do anything, like anything,
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're
anything.
absolutely right.
So in wisdom, what are you getting? You then and have more revelation of who God is.
Yeah.
So if you have more revelation of who God is, that means that He then will show you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have more
You coming
revelation of
through
who
today?
He
Okay.
is, I'm just saying this is what helped me. If you have more revelation of who He is, He'll then gift you with a revelation of who you are. That means that you'll know what whose you are, where you're going, and then also in knowing where you're going, you'll know that if you have understanding of whose you are, then you know that your resources, your reward, your
Mm.
direction, all of those things are
Mm.
coming from God. So not only would those resources come from God, you know that you can prioritize the voice of God. So understanding the voice means that you would then have to give space for the word of God. So that means
Mm.
through
Mm.
studying, you open up those things so that you're able to understand what is for you from God, and then what God allows to be available to you. As in, the wealth of the wicked is laid up in store for the righteous. So you know what resources you're getting from God. You know how to use and how to utilize the gifts and
Yeah.
resources that were given from God through wisdom. You know who is going to be able to give you what you need. That might be, the wicked. It might be, the people that the uncommon resources or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You know what to do with that. You know how to handle them so that you can get what was given to you. It all starts with wisdom. Like, how
Wow. Listen, the way you just broke, I'm over here taking notes, right? So the way you just broke that all the way down, and one of the things that kind of stuck out to me is like, I don't know if being honest, if I've asked God for wisdom. Like I know I've asked for clarity, confirmation.
mm-hmm.
You want Him to guide your steps. You want Him to, we ask for provision, protection, covering, all of those things. But like, to me, as you said it, I was like, I don't know, that's scary. I don't know if I want to know, but I like you do though, right? Because in order for you to be able to walk into your purpose, you have to know all of those things. You have to know who He is. You have to know who you are. You have to know what it is that He wants you to do with what He's giving you. Like
Right.
all of those things are in alignment with exactly where He's trying to take you.
Right.
So yeah, now I'm about to go back. I'm like, Lord, so
I'm telling
I
you,
had this
wisdom.
conversation today, and I'm gonna have to ask for some wisdom.
That's and then you will never, like, it'll never be something that'll hurt you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that wisdom is godly wisdom. So it's not something that would harm you, only to give you an advantage so that you know. Like, wouldn't you rather know what's coming at you?
yeah,
Because the thing is, whatever it is, you have all of heaven backing you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That is so
all
true.
of heaven. So nothing that exalts itself would be able to stand against you
Yeah,
and the God that's behind you and in front of you. So,
yeah.
wisdom. I'd
Yeah,
rather know.
no. That listen, that right there, yeah, that is a that yes, okay. Like yeah, like I don't even have no words right now because it just like thinking about it, like when I think about certain things, like just when I have asked for certain things, maybe I've never asked for the word wisdom, right?
Hmm.
But just when you think about certain things that have happened in your life and how you're able to move through those situations that maybe you felt like, okay, I need your help, right? Like I need you to guide me through this, and I need you, and you really don't know how every single thing was in alignment and it worked out. And one of the things that it made me think about was just like, as you go through those spaces and through those times where you're trying to get overcome this obstacle, is a sense of peace that happens
Yes.
even in the midst of it, right? Like even
Hmm.
if you feel like it's the hardest thing that you have to do, you have peace about it. And once you like explain like prioritizing wisdom, I think that's a part of it, right? Because when you're connected to him and you know that he's moving, even if it's a difficult situation, you and him are straight. So as
Right.
long as we good, like what can, like you said, like I got a whole army behind me. What can you do? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because at the end of the day, he got my back. So
Right.
um
Not only that, but if you're in the will of God and you're seeking the will of God, that's the safest place that you can be.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
the
you
safest
right.
place
You're
that
right
you can
about
be.
that. Yeah. And I
Like
that
that's it.
man,
Like that's
yeah.
the safest place that you can be.
The covering that's around you when you're in that space. And I think it's also one of the things that just it triggered something else in me. Like a couple of years ago, we were on a throughout this journey, like being as though that I know the Slaying Self-Doubt journey is definitely not anything I wanted to do, wasn't what I asked for. This is my God-given purpose. He called me
Mhm.
to do it. So it's about him. One of the things that he was always calling me to do is like grow closer to him and be closer to him. And even though, for me, I was like, I don't really know what that looks like. Like I'm doing the things, but there would be periods of times where I was like, okay, him and I, like he like right here. I know that he's sitting directly, like he's holding me. I'm in his hand, and
Right.
or yeah, I'm in his hand, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, and so I remember this time we were on a going on a family vacation, and it's like this is in the present, right? And so like this thing is like bouncing down the beltway, and I'm like telling my husband, like, is that styrofoam? And he's like, no, it's not. Now mind you, we're on like a 5-lane beltway. We're in the middle lane. And so I'm looking
Mm.
to my left and looking to my right. I can't move. And so all I could do was take my foot off the gas. I was just like, I just told him, I said, this about to hit us. Like, I don't know where it's going to hit, but it's about to hit us. It bounced down and hit up underneath like the front of the car. So we
Mm.
literally like went in the air and came back down. When
Wow.
we hit the ground, I looked to my left and I looked to my right. There was literally not a car in sight.
My
Not like
God.
I was able to move from the middle lane all the way over to the emergency lane, and the thing that hit us ended up like on the emergency lane, like the side of the road as well
Mhm.
with us. Like it was no longer in the road, and I was just like, it literally was like a bubble. Like I get goosebumps even thinking about it. It was like
Like
a
we're
literal
safe.
yeah, like it was. I was in, like you said, when you're in the will of God. Like I was in that space where he was like, I got you, and he just moved us over to the side like a car pulled over. He was like, are you guys okay? And we were like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
fine.
We're fine.
And then everything just it kept going, like the traffic just kept going. But in that moment I said, did you see that? And he was like, yeah. Like I was like, I literally was stuck, and he created space. And it was like, you can't tell me, can't nobody tell me nothing. Like I was just like, there are things that happen that lets me know, like he's like, I got you. I'm like, you are
Right.
covered because you're connected with me, because I'm here with you. I will make sure. And I'm just like you said, like being in that space with him, everything outside of you can't touch you.
Right.
It's just, it's not to say that it's not going to try, or not to say, but did, like for me, that was a reminder that he has me. no matter what, no matter what is bouncing down the beltway,
Right. No
he
matter
got
what
you.
comes down the beltway, he's got you.
He got you. He got you. Yes.
Most definitely. That's still something that like if you're in purpose, if you prioritize being in purpose as well, and being in the will of God, that is literally the safest place that you can be. And if your purpose doesn't draw you to relationship, then it's not your purpose.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
if you have any like, oh well, maybe I want to do this, and it doesn't bring you closer to God, that's not
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
That's not
true.
it.
That is.
just
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
just just forget it. That's
Yeah,
not it.
that yeah, you can't call that because that it's not from him. You will trust me. You will know when it's from him. It's part of the thing you
Yes.
don't even want to do.
It's
That's the
yep.
thing that he's like,
Yep,
no, that
that's the
thing. That's
thing.
what I want you to do.
Yeah,
That
the
thing
one
right
you
there.
keep going back and forth over. I might want. No, I don't want to do. Yep,
Yep.
that one. The thing
Mm-hmm.
that you've been. It's just been in a cycle over and over. Just keep popping up. You try to walk away from it. It always tends to, pop up. Even the thing that you were in before you were like saved, before you were really
Yep.
trying to look for
Yep.
God, that thing that kept going around and
you
around.
can't
You're
you
like,
can't escape it. You
I don't know
cannot
why I
escape it.
do this. Like, yeah, that thing. That
Oh,
one thing.
that one thing. You are absolutely right. So let's talk about 81 Media. Like, how did that? How was that birth? Like, let's go ahead and tell the people what you do. And
Oh man, what do
I
I
asked
do?
you. I said, so is it? The way I described it, and when I was trying to figure out, I was like, do you? Let's give somebody your vision, and then you just make it come to life. And she was like, I mean, basically. But
Yeah,
I'm like, I know
basically.
it's more to it than that. So tell us all about it.
So okay, so 81 Media is basically a storytelling company.
Mm.
Um, now that's weighted in and of itself,
Right.
but like I really try not to be that, but then I have to be that because that's who I am. But when I say a storytelling company, it helps you whether in corporate business, in creative business, if you're a public figure, you're trying to be a public figure, something of that nature. We build, we develop, will draw out the thing that's in the middle of what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and then help you to tell your most honest story, whether it's
Mm.
just for you or whether it's for the world that's around you, your target audience, what have you. We help you to tell your most honest story. Now, a lot of times that involves either like film production, TV, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's brand development. A lot of people don't see that as a story, but it is. It's corporate storytelling.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to start a brand, start a business, and you're trying to figure out, well, I have something, I have an idea, but I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to express that to people so that they're intrigued by it. Everybody, even every business, is just a story.
Yeah.
That's it.
No.
Just a story.
No, I totally got it. When you said storytelling the company, I knew, well, like I said, I knew what it was that you meant. Like, I was like, it's your vision, it's the experience, because it's very easy to put stuff on words. It's easy, but when you're telling a story, like that takes, it ain't my ministry, but that takes some creativity to be able
Yeah.
to bring to bring that vision or whatever that idea is to life. And so when you
Yeah.
have somebody who's able to do that, um that makes lots of things even better because you you can see it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a
Right.
visual person, right? And so as far as I can, as long as I can remember, like everything that I had to do, I was like, I gotta see it. You can't just tell me, like, what does that look like, like,
Right.
and so when you're able to take that and put it into something that people can see and resonate with it, like that, yeah,
Yeah.
like you said,
that's
your
that's
life
it.
is a story, right? Like everything that we like go through and whatever it is you're doing, and especially for like brand development and things of that nature, like it has, because that's what people connect with. That's the
Right.
how they buy your
Exactly.
stuff. Like
Your
it's
unique story. You're
yes,
you're the only person. You're the only business. You're the only that has this
yes,
specific story with this specific background. You're the only one. So if you lean into that uniqueness and tell it in the most honest way, that's
Mm.
what's going to resonate with the person that you're looking for. And usually the people that are your people, because you're drawn to a specific people
Right,
and they
exactly.
are specifically drawn to you, they'll be able to hear it almost like a clarion call.
Yeah.
They'll be able to look at it and be like, oh, something in that mirrors what I have in me. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be attracted to that. But if you don't tell it in the most honest way possible and you don't prioritize telling your story and not somebody else's story, because usually when you try and tell somebody else's story, that's when everything starts to get diluted and not nobody's
Right.
really interested, or it seems really commercial. You
Mhm.
can,
Mhm.
people aren't really like, oh, well, I don't know, something about it. It just seems fake.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like I don't know what it is. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like if you tell your most honest story, the people that are called to you, and it's not about it being overly spiritual, but it's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
true.
No,
It's just
I
true. The
I
people
know.
that mirror that, whatever is in them versus what they see, they'll be drawn to it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, you're absolutely right. I was speaking to somebody else, and either she said it or I said it. I'm not sure. Somebody said it. That there are people specifically assigned to you. So when you said that the people that are supposed to, that story is going to resonate with your people.
Hmm.
That's a part of like your purpose. I always say that somebody somewhere is connected to your purpose and it's connected to your obedience. So my
Right.
story is this, like you said, walking into uncharted territories and being the first. It's people behind you waiting for
Right.
you, right? And so
Hmm.
you're creating that space for people to be able to show up as their most authentic selves. And that's, we definitely need that right now. We got enough, you know.
Absolutely.
We got enough. We
Absolutely.
got enough fakeness around here. We need authenticity.
That's it.
So you have a new book out called The Good Place to Start. Tell us about that.
Yes. So the good place to start actually was an assignment.
Mm.
that was it was an assignment. Like I was literally actually in prayer and I was just, seeking God about some other things. It wasn't even related to this.
Cause
Like
he be all in your business. That's
right, I mean, God, it was a long day, just really just,
and he like
let's
book.
wrap. He's like, yeah, so also I hear what you're saying, but this. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, cool. So basically, I was trying to lean in and see what I needed to do as it relates to purpose. And he basically said, all right, so this is what you're going to do. What you're going to do is take these days of the next month, and every single day I'm going to have you write.
Mm.
And I want you to basically know that in anything requiring destiny or purpose or anything in the direction of destiny and purpose, because that's what I was praying about, you'll
Mm-hmm.
need wisdom.
Mm.
You'll need wisdom, because what happens when you get it and you don't have wisdom? You squander it, it dies.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people really talk about, to be able to endure success.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people talk about enduring like the hardships and things that
Yeah.
happen, but enduring success. Because what happens when you get everything that you asked for?
Jesus. Yes.
Like, what happens? What happens? You still need
Listen.
wisdom to be able to endure the fact that you've gotten everything that you wanted,
Yeah.
because he's not just giving you all that it's exceedingly
Yes.
and abundantly above
Yes.
all that you could
Yes.
ever ask or think. So that's not something that a lot of people talk about, is the like enduring success. So when it comes to wisdom, that's where everything needed to start. So I was like, all right, cool. What is that? What does that really? What does that look like? Like,
Right.
so started out just like, all right, so Proverbs. That's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna start you out there. Now, when God gives you a study plan, it's a little different
It's a
than
little different than you picking something, right?
right.
You're
It's not
right.
like a little app. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like this is your study plan. This is what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was going to be a book
Wow.
until it was, illuminated, or it was revealed basically to me that this is what would be your gift, because I'm walking you through this. This is what you'll need to be able to get through and for you to understand certain things, and it'll be helpful to everyone else. Anybody else that's literally on the path following your destiny, that's a destiny seeker, they
Mm.
need to know this. So for every day in the month of March, I wrote, and there's 31 days in March. There's
Wow.
31
Wow.
chapters in Proverbs. There was one for every day. I said, you
So
know what?
intentional. So
I
intentional.
said, you know what? All right, all right, you got me. I'll
You
do it.
got me.
And
Oh man.
yeah, it was beautiful. It was something that I didn't know that I needed, but obviously he did. And it really wasn't something that I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna write me a book. It was
Yeah,
like one of
yeah.
those things. And the fact that it wasn't, okay, the fact that it wasn't, it was something that didn't require anything from me.
Mm.
It didn't require anything. Like, you know how you experience certain things and they seem hard fought?
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't like that at all. It was just something that, if I committed to it, if I had discipline and
Mm.
accountability and sought out wisdom and listened for that insight, and then presented it as an offering, that's all I had to do. And he took
Wow.
care of the rest.
Yeah.
And, that was him teaching me, hey, so if you do this and you follow this,
Yeah.
and all of the things that you do in life, this is none of the rest of the successes that you would have would be hard fought, because I'll carry it. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? You be just teaching lessons and stuff. Like,
Man.
I see what you're doing.
No,
But yeah.
yes, and it just made me like as you were talking about, I'm just like thinking about all the things that God has asked us for that we're just like we make it harder than it needs to be, right? Like
Ugh, every
the
time.
every single time that because we're putting ourselves in it, right? And we're
Right.
like fighting it. And I even when I think about this, when I started the podcast, like I did it and was just kind of like, oh, I know he wants me to do this, but it's so much more because I've seen the end, right? I already know what it looks like. I'm just like, let me try hurry up and get there. And I was fighting this so much, like literally so much. It just was not working. I could
Yeah.
not get it together. It was just like, and finally, a mentor of mine was just like, basically, what's the last thing that God told you to do? And I was just like, the podcast, but I don't wanna. I wanna do, this, and
Right.
I wanna do that. And
Right.
she was just like, okay, I'm gonna ask you again. What's the last thing? And I was like, fine. And so she was like, just again, take a month and just focus on it. And I did that, and I literally like I'm in a space now where I'm just like things are happening in a way that I'm just like for real. Like if
Right.
I could.
Right.
I could have cut out a whole lot of other
Exactly.
stuff before this had I just,
Just
but
did it.
now, yeah, if I just did it. And so the clarity that comes with it and the things is just like, okay, focus on this one thing. Like he's going to give you whatever it is that he's all like what he promised you is what he promised you. Rushing to get it is not going to do anything but bring you frustration. Like
Yeah.
legit, that's all it is. Like you have
Right.
to do it because he ain't giving it to you out of order. I don't care
Right.
how bad you want it. He gonna give it to you the way he planned to give it to you. And if you keep
Hmm.
skipping steps and jumping over and I don't really want to do this, let me do that, you're gonna find yourself right back where you started in the first place because you didn't even complete that thing. So
Yeah.
as you were talking, I just was like, you know what? Let me go look at this list of stuff that he didn't tell
Yeah.
me I
Yeah.
need to do.
That's
and and
key
just
though.
surrender. Let me just surrender, Lord. Okay, you want me to do this? Fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. You ain't gonna get no argument out of me. And you're right. It comes with ease. It's
It
something that you don't
does.
have to fight about. You're not worried about it, and things start to come to you, right? That
Hmm.
that help
It'll
you
chase
get.
you down.
Yes, and you
Like,
be like, wait a minute, hold up, one second. I can't hold all of it. I can't hold it all.
right. It'll chase you down. That's so real, because I literally just experienced that, and I was just like, well, you mean I've been doing all of this stuff? Like, I've been, working. Well, you were trying to do it in your own strength.
Yes.
Problem is that you are like, whenever you're trying to rush to get things done, you're missing one of the key portions of it, which is process. And there's
Mm,
power in process.
yeah.
Everybody wants to run away from process. Patience is also, does its her perfect work. It's process.
Yeah.
That's what gives you the strength to be able to do it. And it's still not in your own strength. The process teaches you how to rely on his strength, how to
Wow.
get yourself out of the way so that you can get to him. And he's the one that gives you what you need, the strength
Yes.
that you need to be able to get there. But if you don't break yourself,
Mm.
if you don't break yourself out of that and you are just steady trying to let me just get to the end, you're cheating yourself out of the process, which produces the power. And that power is what's going to be able to give you what you need so that you can sustain in that purpose.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. Like, man, you're just dropping all types of gems, word, everything today. Like I promise you, when I do these interviews, sometimes I'm just like, okay, God, this was for me. This one. I don't care who listening. This right here was a
Look,
word
that
for
was for
me
me.
today.
I'm
Okay.
taking.
Yes, I'm like, oh, this all for me. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, I appreciated that. You trying to get my attention, so you sent this. Oh, okay, I see what you did
Like,
there.
oh, I see you. You just doing these things.
You
That's
be
that's how I
so,
felt about the book. I read
yeah.
it when I was proofreading. I was like, wait, this was for me. Hold on, wait a minute. So
Like,
you just gonna knock me in my jaw right here? That's
and
what you okay?
and
All
that's
right.
what he do. And I always say that the thing that we struggle with the most is the thing that's like that thing that we're trying to run away from. That's the thing
Mm-hmm.
that is supposed to help us to walk in our purpose. We need those things to continue. Like he's an everyday that is like a mirror. Like everything he's teaching us to show other people is a mirror of ourselves, and it
Right.
helps us to be able to kind of move past this. Like in the beginning, before I started this, like I really wanted my self doubt to go away. Like I was just like, let me just let it, Lord, please let it just go. And it was just like, no, it has to stay. Like this is a part of your assignment. Like you
Mm-hmm.
and like you what you just said, that this is the process, right? And
Right.
so if the process is self doubt, how can you like it's teaching you to rely on him, because I need him to get me through
Right.
whatever these next steps are. And if I didn't have the self-doubt, then he can't use me. Like and so in my mind, I'm always just kind of like, okay, it is what it is. This is where I am. You're going to do the things that you need to do, but all of that pushes you into the greatness and what it is that he's called for you. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
this is
It's not just you keeping the self doubt. It's more so what your relationship is with it
mm,
because of him.
yeah.
Because God wouldn't cause you to keep something that would lessen you.
Come on now.
But if you're holding something that draws your people to you, it's your relationship that you have with it that is more important.
See, didn't
So
I
if you're
tell you
not
this is for
holding
me? Didn't I tell you this? Don't nobody. It's like, no, I was gonna say, don't nobody listen to this episode. This is a personal conversation. This is for me. But no, y'all can listen in. But that right there was specifically designed for me.
I'm telling you,
You are so right. Like
it's a relationship with
it's the
it. It's not
yes.
just that. You can hold something and it not be a part of who you are.
Oh. Okay, goosebumps. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. Y'all don't understand. I promise you, this is a right on time word. Listen to me here. Oh my gosh. Kai, you just see, this is why when I do these things, like I know that these episodes and this podcast and switching, transitioning into interviews was one of the things that was super scary for me, right?
Mm,
And like doing it and having these conversations with people, and when they are sharing their faith, or sharing, like I said, I know when stuff is specifically for me. I mean, I know
yeah.
it's for other people as well. Like that's why it's the podcast. But
Right. Right.
he's connecting me. Like that was one of the things I prayed for. Like I was just like, it's just not going to be any and everything. Like I need something for my people, legit. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yes.
so it's
Definitely.
like you said, like understanding like my relationship with self doubt. That was a whole mind shift for me. Just right in that moment, like what, like man, man. Thank you for that. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that right now.
That's
Thank you,
that's
thank you.
Thank him. Okay. Thank him. It's really important though. Like really leaning into these conversations, like you were saying, there is something very, very powerful about a conversation. A
Yeah.
conversation can literally change the trajectory of your life and your worldview and those that might come or be the fruit of that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, so it's connectivity and conversation is very, very important. So if you're called to have those kinds of conversations, don't take it lightly.
Yeah, no, I
Don't
definitely
take
don't
it
now,
lightly at all.
He just keeps showing me like this is and now I'm in a space, like I said, I was fighting it at first. And now if anybody ask me anything about it, like that's my priority. I'm like, oh, I'm a podcaster. Like,
Mhm.
everything else is because this right here. It's like this is the focus right now. Everything else will come when he's ready for it to come. But right now, this is what the assignment is. Like you said, like this is the assignment, and I will continue it until he tells me otherwise. And so, yeah, no, you like you definitely blessed me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
So,
having
oh,
me.
you're welcome. So, how can people connect with you?
Well, depending on what you're looking for, because there's a lot there. Most of it, I would say the easiest way is just going on my website, which is go81.com. So that's GO and then the number 8 all the way spelled out. So EIGHT and then the number 1 all spelled out ONE.com. So go81.com.
Cool, cool, cool. I will definitely put all this information in the show notes, so y'all be able to get get connected with Kai. Like that, you could just tell just in this conversation, like in here, like just you haven't created a vision for me, but I just like I could tell how you're able to take the words and like make it so clear. Like it's oh man, I y'all this right here, like, and like I said, I'm a visual person, so even when people say things, like I can visualize the things, like as
Yeah.
it. And so as you were talking, it was just like these the visions that were popping up for me. That was just like, "Yup, this is what you need to do," and "Yup, you need to do that."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's if you lean into it, if you lean into what those things are, then you don't really have to fight really hard to be able to get to express who you are, express what you've been called to do, express all of those things. You just show up. That's all you have to do.
yeah, absolutely right. You just
Just
gotta
show
show up.
up.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Kai. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I do. I truly appreciate what you're doing. And, I appreciate your yes, that your yes to be able to do this every single time and have those conversations and, prioritizing that connectivity. I thank you for your yes.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. We end every episode with the serenity prayer, and it goes as follows: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.